G'day guys, welcome back to the Fon Supercoach YouTube channel. Today we will be reviewing round 15, in which I scored 2,157 and sort of held rank, which I was a little bit surprised. I thought this score was going to be poor. And at the end of the day, I was heavily carried by the captaincy score. But yeah, we'll get into the side. So last week trades were Dunkley. Let's actually work out. It was Dunkley out, Murdoch out, Artie Jones out for Jackson, Fitzgerald, and Sicily. How did that go? Well, Sicily gave away a dumb, pointless 50-meter penalty at the start of the game, so that was always a good start. And then obviously my score very much was carried by this Luke Jackson VC this week. So I would say overall probably not too bad. Would have liked a better score from Sicily on debut, but is what it is. I think Impey is going to miss a couple of weeks, I would imagine. He had, I think, a hamstring problem, so that should bode well not only for Sicily, but also for Flynn Perez, who should come back for a couple of games. And yeah, I think it bodes well for Sicily. But that being said, let's get into the rest of the games. So Max Holmes against, can't remember that far ago, Fremantle, 128 with Bailey Smith out. He just had the absolute fairy roll, like full CBAs and kick-ins. So that was really good. Thank you, Razor. Much appreciated. And then Sinclair, the 4. I must admit, I didn't watch this game. I've been watching less footy this year, I think, because my Supercoach team, he's so bad. Which, by the way, I was looking a couple nights ago. I was like, dude, why is my team so bad? Like, last year I got 23 premiums. I think the year before I got 23 as well. And the year before we had no flex. So I was just like, what is going on? Last year, I'll compare with last year because I remember specifically what happened because I could check my YouTube videos. Last year we had Smith and Caleb Daniel, which were absolute layups in the forward line, like 250k layups. And that in itself is like 600k of value. I think the other problem that I had was I started trading in dead rookies a little bit earlier. And I've also started some bad premiums, which is why my team value is like $1 million less than it was this time last year. So yeah, there was no layups this year, which was particularly punishing for me because I started heaps of mid prices and they were all terrible. And I missed a couple of really good rookies in Dersma and Cook because of that. So yeah, you reap what you sow. And as a result, I've got Decam. I'd probably have the rest of them, to be honest. Like, I don't think Durham's that bad. I can't deal with Clark, but it is what it is. So anyway, getting into the rest of the team. So Whitfield, 88. Again, I didn't watch a heap of this game either, but Whitfield he started the game quite well, and then I believe he was swung forward in the fourth quarter, which is a little bit concerning. We have seen Kingsley swing the magnets around before, so we've seen Ash into the midfield, yada, yada, yada. I don't really think it makes a whole lot of sense to play Whitfield forward. It limits the amount of touches he can get, and I believe it limits his impact. Yes, he is a good user in the forward half, but I think you can get that out of him when he's playing off halfback anyway, so I don't think that'll persist. I am saying that with a hopeful heart, though. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he just goes back to halfback. Sicily I spoke about, expecting the scoring to be a little bit better this week and going forward. So GWS has been a really good matchup for designated kickers. And then Josh Worrell was out with illness. This was the week for it for me because I only had, I think I had one premium missing this week, which was Nick Dacos. I'm not sure. Did I do these? No, Nick Dacos played. Sorry. I had... Oh, just Durham. Durham was the only one who missed. So, yeah, that was good. So good. It was a good week to miss Worrell. I'm sure he'll be back this week and he'll be all right, back for the showdown. And then Jordan Clark just has no intention to get the footy. I knew this pick was, I got to stop. I complain about this pick every week. As I said earlier, you reap what you sow. I knew this is what would happen with this pick and I went there anyway. Dawson, 86, so was getting a little bit of stoppage attention from Jack Steele for Melbourne, and he also had like a pretty poor game efficiency-wise. I'm pretty sure he kicked a couple of goals. Melbourne games, I tend to fixate really hard on Melbourne because that's the team I support, and I don't know, it's just what I'm like. So I'm sort of aware of what's going on, but I don't remember the exact specifics. I thought Dawson was mostly pretty good. Just had a couple of bad clangers early, and his impact was limited by the steal attention at stoppage. Butters, didn't watch this game because I didn't want to watch Nick Dacos get called the champ every 3 seconds. But yeah, Butters was really good on a little bit lower disposals than normal, just a 25. Had Ed Allen hanging off him, but just had goal assists and that sort of thing. So it was good for Butters. Bont 142. No idea what happened in this game, but Bont is Bont. The rest, I think, will do Bont an absolute world of good. So I'm expecting him to come home like an absolute freight train on the way home. So that'll be good. Nick Dacos 159, just running around on his own against Port. Finn Callahan 103. Like I don't know if I spoke about this last week, but I think Oliver's actually affecting Finn Callahan because Oliver gets a little bit more outside ball. And I also don't think that when Ash got swung into the midfield, was particularly advantageous for Finn. So I think this is probably going to be just 105, which is a disaster. I've got probably 2. I think Rao can do 105. I think Oliver will do 110 still. So that'll be good. But this M5 to M8 is a little bit disastrous. And then Oliver just had a stinker, just didn't touch the ball in the first quarter. And when you assassinate your game in the first quarter, it is very hard to recover. Rao, I'm feeling a little bit I feel like Rao's a little bit unlucky in the sense that I don't really want to fuel Damien Hardwick's umpire bashing, but Rao has someone hanging off him before he catches the ball very frequently at stoppages. And it would be good to just see an umpire ping 1 or 2 of those a little bit earlier in the game so he gets a little bit more freedom. But it hasn't happened yet, and he's still scoring 90s. So this week, I can't remember who was doing it for Hawthorn. I don't think Nash played, so it was someone else. But would like to see a little bit more of Matthew Rao. It was probably Day. It was Day, actually. And then Fitzgerald over Hall Kahan was just a stupid decision in hindsight. Cost me, I don't know which scores are counting here. I think it probably cost me the full 36 points. But this week, we won't be doing that anyway. He'll just be on field. He might actually be in defense when we get to trades. So, that was a little bit frustrating. This is a genuinely good player and a really good pickup for Adelaide, who I think needed another ball user behind the footy. And now they've got one. So I think Adelaide are just missing a genuine bona fide midfielder. And I don't think that they need a bigger midfielder. I'm not sure that Zach Bailey gives them something tremendously different to what Rankin and Rochelle offer. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes next year. But yeah, I think the Crows are very nearly a very complete side. And then Ison didn't watch this game, but whatever, 32. Gawn 140. He absolutely killed McAndrew. I guess it was a lesson with these guys who are rookie price and have played like under 50 AFL games. We've seen it with Murdoch as well. They are not keepers. Like it's just not enough games of experience. The season is long. It's brutal. Eventually, even after a rest recently for McAndrew, you still get worn down. It's a tough gig. And yeah, Gawn was able to capitalize on McAndrew from this match. And then Luke Jackson on debut, just tremendous. Just scored Supercoach points for fun and had a good matchup and took advantage of it. So yeah, it was racked with him on debut. Harry Sheasel, 153 against Richmond. Watched very little of this game as well. But yeah, he just racks it up against Richmond. We know what we get with Sheasel from Richmond. Like in hindsight, like the obvious captain, vice captain play this week was Jackson into Sheasel. I can't remember if that's what I said in my video. I think I just said I would hope that this was enough, and it was. So that was good. Then Horn Francis, 128. Again, didn't watch this game, but when his CBAs are really high, he just scores well. So hopefully he gets the same role next year. I'm interested to know if he's mid only next year, and the coach comes out and we take him at face value, and he says that Jason Horn-Francis will play 80% midfield next year. Like, what does he average? I think it's probably 110. Like, he's genuinely that good. I don't know if the fitness is there for 80% CBAs for a full year yet, but he can. This guy can really play. So yeah, very excited to watch his career unfold. Petrarca, like this was a rare game where you can kill your scoring, or you have a bad score in the first quarter, but then you recover. Petrarca did that mostly through a really high contested rate, but his disposal was shocking in the first half. So yeah, that was that. And then Pickett, 54, was well held. I would say well held by Peatling, but I think he was a little bit off anyway. There was reports that he was unwell during the week. So I'll give Cozzy a little bit of a mulligan there. Took Miller 75, similar to Petrarca, just torching the footy. Durham didn't play. And then D-Cam 66. I don't know how he dished this up against Sweet, but this guy... There are 3 teams who would be absolutely spewing about the ruck changes. North, Collingwood, and Gold Coast. And I think going back to Petrarca, Rao, and Took Miller, by the way, is getting like a lot of CBAs, and they're coming from Rao a little bit, which is strange to me, but I think Gold Coast has suffered because of the ruck changes in the sense that, so I believe they're the second worst team, or maybe they are the worst. It's them or West Coast, it's the worst, at contests, so getting clearances this season, which when you're rolling around with a midfield of Rao, Petrarca, Took Miller, Noah Anderson, of course, like that makes no sense, right? But I think what's happened is Witts has been disarmed by this centre bounce rule. And around the ground, he's just not as effective either this year. A bit of age, is what it is. Big Witts is pretty old now. But Moyle hasn't come in and offered that level of hit-out dominance. And I think the Suns' mids have not really adjusted well to that, which has caused their scoring, except for Anderson, who has the most prolific outside game of the 4 of them, I would say. Although we have seen Took Miller in the past have a really good outside game, but his role it's not allowing that anymore. So I think that's why these 3 are not scoring as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the off-season. If we see a lot of development from Moyle, Rowell is going to be very cheap next year and could be quite tempting again. I don't think the rules have the rules by that I mean just the game being opened up and more fast and less contested. I don't think it's really hurting Rowell. Like, he is capable of getting outside ball. It's not his bread and butter, but he is capable. And his use on the outside, particularly with time and space, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good at both sides of the body as well. So I don't know. I still have faith that Rao can turn it around, if not this year, in the future. But that is the team for this week. So I have one injury this week, which is Sinclair. So I think I've had injuries the last 3 weeks now, which is a little bit concerning. But we will be cashing Sinclair out. And I have options here. Do I want a defender or do I want a midfielder? The same rules are going to apply with the last trades. I am not getting someone in on the buy this week, obviously, and there are no other buys. So we're looking for guys who have already played. I've kind of got one option in mind as a defender, and I don't think it's the player I'm going to go for. That is Nick Blakey. Oh, there's also Luke Parker. I just find Parker's scoring a little bit inconsistent, and I don't know when it's going to end. Like, it's really only one super good score since round 7 or since round 6 even, which was the last time they played Richmond. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Geez, North have had a good fixture this year. But yeah, I'm just not overly confident in Luke Parker's scoring ability going forward. I think it was really good early, but it won't be so much going forward. I think Miller is affected too much by Hall Kahan. I think Roberts will actually play, which I would argue is a foolish decision for Essendon to make, but he will play, and I don't necessarily think his scoring is going to be too much worse than it was when he got injured. But I also don't think with the injury that he's the best option that I have. Dagos playing midfield, I'm not interested in. So Nick Blakey is my option in defense. I'm just not sure about this one. Like, the run, like a lot of these, so Freo and Adelaide aren't great. And I believe North have been restrictive to halfbacks, and I think Port are as well. But otherwise, the run is pretty good. In saying that, Blakey's scoring is quite up and down, like 68, 59, 78, 70. I know I've got Jordan Clark, but I don't know if that's something I want to stomach, particularly when I think it's a foregone conclusion that Fremantle and Sydney are going to finish in the top 2. Do Sydney get to around 23 or 22 or 24 or whatever and start resting some of these guys? So I really kind of want to avoid that. So I'm not going to go with a defender. I'm actually going to get a midfielder, and we're just going to take Hall Kahan at D6 every week. Yes, I know it's bad. I'm hoping that I get the odd week where it nets me a couple of points, and then I just use Fitzgerald as cover around here. Ideal world, I'd be swinging Hall Kahan back and looping in with Jordan Clark every week and getting a defender. But because I can't do that, I think I'm just better off getting a midfielder. So that then begs the question, Who do I want here? So there are some interesting options. So Lockie Neal, first of all, is an interesting option, I believe. Now, you have to ask the question, who gets tagged in these games? And that is not a question I had the answer to. If I had to guess, it would be Neal. But it may go to Bailey. I don't know. Now, I think he played Geelong this year, 93. Played Sydney to a 92. Like, it's not a disaster. I'm also a little bit concerned that Neal becomes a little bit checked out. It seems like, a foregone conclusion that he's off at the end of the year as well. So now I have two options that I'm interested in. The first one is Jai Newcomb. Now, the question would be, why am I interested in Jai Newcomb? Well, the run is pretty good. So this game was an aberration for Hawthorn, and then this game was just bad in general. But if you remove the outliers, which is a dangerous thought, the run is actually quite good. So GWS, Melbourne are great fixtures. I believe Carlton is a good fixture for inside mids. Richmond, Essendon, obviously self-explanatory. North is tougher, but Brisbane, Collingwood and West Coast are also not too bad matchups. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. That's option one. Option two is weird again. It's not Cripps. It's actually one of Cripps' teammates. But I'm now just having a look at Cripps. I don't think Cripps has the ceiling, which sounds a little bit crazy when I'm about to talk about George Hewitt as a little bit of a spoiler. Where is he? I need to go by average, don't I? George Hewitt, here we go. 513K. For those who are unaware, George Hewitt last year averaged 112. And the year before that, he averaged 92. Was this a year we all picked him? First year at... Yeah, that was the year we picked him. No, it was this year. Sorry. Getting sidetracked. But George Hewitt can very much score. It's highly contested, but he gets it on the outside. I'm actually leaning a little bit towards this. So you get West Coast, Richmond, the next two. So Hawthorn's not a great matchup. And then the Dockers in 24 probably isn't a great matchup either. But all the other matchups, once again, are not bad at all. And he does not leave the state for the rest of the season, which I can't believe I'm reading. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll have 4 games outside Melbourne this year. Oh, sorry, that's not the whole Carlton fixture. Okay, I'm getting carried away. So a lot of games at Marvel, a few at the G. I really like this. So I'm actually going to stay with George Hewitt for now. This may change. I will do some sort of update if it does change, but I am liking George Hewitt for now. Is it looking a little bit point chasey? Yes, but at these price ranges, it's always going to look a little bit point chasey. So this is the one trade I'm going to make. It may become Newcomb during the week, as I said, but I will try and keep you updated on that. And then this is how we line up for this week. So captains, vice captains. I could go the third week in a row with the VC on a trade-in, but I'm not going to do that. I think Nick Dacos is too good to pass up against Richmond. So Richmond are just letting people do whatever they want. The question is, what happens afterwards? So I've got 3 options. It's Butters or Dawson in the showdown. I like both of them. I think Butters will get a little bit of Peatling attention, but that's nothing he can't work through. And I think Dawson will get a little bit of Drew attention, but again, it's nothing he can't work through. I think my preferred option, however, is Harry Sheezel against Essendon, because Essendon are a basket case right now and Shees is in good form. So we're going to do this. And we are going to loop Will Edwards and Flynn Perez, like so. So yeah, this is where we are at for this week. So we're going to do that. If Watkins plays, I will sub him in, but I'm not expecting him to. So that is the team for this week. Let me know in the comments below how you went and what your plans are to deal with Sinclair if you are one of the unlucky owners for this week. And yeah, I will maybe update you this week, may not. And if not, I will see you next week. Bye, guys.